tells you one thing very clearly, that is the student-teacher relationship. And it also tells you how to acquire knowledge. And Plato, as I always tell my students when I teach Plato, he's a very, very radical thinker for his time. Sometimes I think he's even ahead of us. And two people who have talked extensively about education, one is Plato and the other is Rousseau. So I don't want you to think that I'm going to teach you empirical methods straight away. Sample, size of the sample, random or stratified or random stratified. Then you have data deviation, which you have to account for. I'm not going to go into all those now. That'll come a bit later. I like the idea of storytelling. By that, I don't mean I'm telling you fiction. If something is told like somebody is telling a story, then that is better received by people. That's what I have learned in my many years of experience in teaching. So I'm going to start by asking you a question, because I don't want this to be a monologue. Why is research called research? You're doing research. Why is it called research?
We are reinvestigating the topic or the issue or what has been done.
You're what?
Reinvestigating.
Reinvestigating. Why should you reinvestigate? Why should you
Maybe
reinvestigate if somebody has already done it?
to find out the critical points or to critique, or you might find out that it works differently in different situations.
Okay. Maria, do you have an opinion on this?
Well, I think that research, called research, I think first that the knowledge not is only unique or newly things. I think that I think sometimes that that all the knowledge is done.
All the
We
knowledge.
just do it. All the knowledge is done. I guess sometimes I guess that I have this supposition. I mean,
What?
everything that. Uh-huh.
Yeah, go on.
Uh-huh. So, what research is useful to renew this knowledge, to add other characteristic to this knowledge, and complete the a part of this knowledge in some period. So you need to research, you need to find, you need to ask, and you need to write your findings. It's something like this. Sorry.
Sorry about what? You are
Because
giving?
maybe, my opinion maybe is a little complicated, I guess, but
It's not
I think that.
complicated. It's not
I think that.
complicated. Okay.
Hmm.
Daniel, do you have an opinion on
Yeah,
this?
sir. Yeah, when we say research is that there are two terms that it means, again, as the sister said, and search means examining closely and carefully, that investigating in systematical ways, we are looking for the new knowledges. The systematic investigation for the new knowledge is said to research. So research is that it means again, and that searching is closely or examining deeply, looking for the further knowledge. In my point of view, this is what we call that the research.
Okay. Zakir, do you have something? Zakir,
Yes, sir.
what is your idea of research?
Sir, I think research is finding, actually learn and use some things, or find a new way to going on. Yeah, I think this.
Okay. Why don't we just use the term search?
The term, what?
Search.
Search.
Drop the RE and just say search. Why don't we just say search?
For the
So,
same
may I?
point, I mean, sorry. Okay.
Oh, no, carry on. No, it's so fine. Carry on. Please carry on.
Okay. Because for this point that I told before, I mean, maybe not all knowledge are ready, are done, but we usually take this basis to refound new knowledge that update this basic knowledge. I don't know what I mean for this reason, research, refine, something like this.
No, I'm asking you why not just say search?
So, may I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
So, search becomes more of exploratory in nature.
Mm.
So, research is something which can be explored and again re-explored. And also, it is more of moving from known to unknown, and also from unknown to known. Sorry, known to unknown, yeah, and unknown to known, both. But
Okay.
search becomes more of like moving towards unknown.
Sir,
Yeah.
yeah, we search. Why we search? Because the society's life is surrounded with different problems. When if we raise that developing countries or developing countries, there are so many problems. So to get the solution for that problems, we should have to search to get a new knowledge to solve the problems of the societies. In my point of view, sir.
So you say search has its own relevance.
Yeah.
Good point. Maria, you were saying something.
No. My opinion is like Shalini told
Okay.
before. It's more like this. It's more like this. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe I don't have the correct words in English. Sorry.
No, your English is fine. Stop telling me
So
that your English is not fine. It's fine.
okay, but I have a doubt. For example, we can say that in all knowledge, I mean, in the science, pure science and social science are done, or we can say, okay, in social science, we continuously refresh these researchers about the behavior of the society, or is it done?
Okay.
Why I ask that this? Because when we make the research, we always going to the old theories, to the modern theories to explain what happened now, and sometimes this is not is enough to clarify us the social phenomenon now. So this is, I think that sometimes it's a big issue. I don't know.
Right. Uh, Zakir, do you have anything?
Yes, sir. Sir, I think search is very primary and very basically, and research is more than developed. Suppose one theories exist in social science, and I want research because to gather evidence for according related to this theory for developing of knowledge or developing this theory. I think this, sir.
You want to develop a theory.
Yeah, sir,
Yeah.
one more point. In my point of view, as I've said, the world, all things in the world is dynamic. What is today is right, and coming may not be right. So we search that to discover new facts to verify whether the old facts is right or not. That means that there is dynamic conditions is available in the world.
Okay. So you're saying you want to apply old knowledge to new situations and see if it is tenable. Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying? Okay. All right. How many of you have heard the term hermeneutics? HER,
Myself, sir.
yeah, Shalini has heard hermeneutics. HERMENEUTICS, hermeneutics. Anyone else who has heard apart from Shalini? Okay, so we'll do one thing. We'll put that on ice for the time being. Let's go right back into ancient Greece. I would like to start with Parmenides. Though strictly speaking, one has to start with the Milesian school. How many of you are aware of the Milesian school? Thales, Anaximander, and Anaximenes. These three people are called the Milesian school. However, they were not contemporaries. Okay, now if you look at the Milesian school, the Milesian school was basically trying to get rid of supernatural categories of explanation in uh, the lives of human beings. Okay, they did not want to worship gods. They did not want to worship Zeus, Dionysius, Apollo. They believed they were probably the first empiricists. Empiricism is where you look out for things outside of you, and you try to find out what this world is about. Let me throw in a phrase from Martin Heidegger. Martin Heidegger essentially says that being born is like being thrown into the world. Okay. Being born is being thrown into the world. And if you're thrown into the world, you don't know anything. He says, imagine all over you there are trees, branches, hardly any light coming in or just about enough light coming in through the trees and leaves. And where do you go? The first question that you ask yourself is, who am I? Where am I? And where do I go? These are the questions you ask yourself. This is a metaphor that Heidegger has used. As per this metaphor, you have a thing called ontology coming in to being. Traditionally, for the Greeks, there were two ways of trying to know things. One was epistemology, 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 which is pursuit of knowledge. Because an episteme, Episteme, episteme is a framework of learning. So epistemology is a methodical way of learning. Methodical. The second part of the course, the first part is research. The second part is methodology, or you can simply say methods. So if we're talking about methods, so this is ontology, epistemology, which says that you have to create a framework of knowledge, or rather create a framework of investigation through which you'll try to gain knowledge. And if you're an epistemologist, the question, why should I have knowledge, is not a valid question. You should have knowledge. That's it. It's a given. There's no argument about that. You should have knowledge. The other school, which is Parmenides, the Eleatic school, Eleatic, Eleatic school, and there are two people in this. It's called Eleatic because this is the province of Elia. So you have Parmenides and Zeno, Zeno, Zeno. You have these two people who have taken things onto another level, which is ontology. Parmenides perhaps is the first documented ontologists in Western political philosophy. He is also the first metaphysician. He used metaphysics. How many of you understand what metaphysics is?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes,
I think
Daniel.
metaphysics is the branch of philosophies which studies about the realities about the existence.
That is existentialism. That's not metaphysics.
So his metaphysics is grand theories.
Grand theory is an outcome of metaphysics. It's not metaphysics.
Okay.
For the Greeks, the world was physis. The world consisting of matter. Okay, that is physis. So when the Greeks studied the world like the Milesians did, Thales said, where did this world come from? And his answer, he's not a metaphysics person. He says there is a primary substance called water. Everything comes out of water as far as Thales is concerned. And if you look at Anaximenes basically argues that air is the primary substance from which the whole world has come into being. Air. Okay. And then you have this man in between the two of these two people. You have this great man, truly great man, Anaximander. If it wasn't for Anaximander, today we wouldn't have had a theory of gravity, perhaps. So the story that you might have heard, I don't know about the foreigners, but in India, we were told the story that Newton was sitting under a tree. An apple fell probably on his head. And then so he speculated, why did the apple fall down? Why didn't it go up? And lo and behold, you have the three laws of Newton, which form his idea of gravity and physics and time. Time is also physics for him. Now, physics is dealing with matter. Metaphysics, anything meta, is that which rises over something, whatever it may be. If you rise over physics, you're metaphysical. If you rise over physics, you're metaphysical. That is also called transcendental. Transcendental in the sense that it is not something which is which changes with time and place. It does not change with time and place. Now, what you have to understand is that people like Anaximander were trying to use a method to basically understand the world. So when Thales was asked, where is the world resting? He said it is resting in water. Okay. Anaximenes said, see, air is the primary substance. And when air condenses, it becomes water. And when water condenses, it becomes earth. This is what Anaximenes said. Primary substance, therefore, for him is water. Air. Everything comes out of that. But Anaximander is probably the first user of dialectical method. Method again. Anaximander essentially tries to tell us that this world is not something that came out of one thing, one substance, the primary substance. It didn't come out of one substance. He says the world came into being because of the fact that opposite tendencies in the world have, opposite characteristics in the world have a tendency to gravitate towards each other. So he said, the world comes into being when opposites like cold and hot come together. So when cold and hot come together, one moves into the other. One moves into the other, right? So we all know this. This is summer. I don't know if Maria drinks Coke or Pepsi. I don't know. So Maria wants to drink Pepsi or Coke. She doesn't want to put on weight, so she wants the 0-calorie one. Okay. You can't drink that if it's hot. So what do? You refrigerate it. If you refrigerate it, it becomes cold. Now, if you put it back outside and the class starts and Maria forgets about the can of sugar-free Coke or Pepsi. Then by the time the class is over, it's back to being to room temperature. Room temperature may be anything. It may be 26, it may be 31. In Hyderabad, Maria, I don't know if you know this, temperatures go up to 44 degrees Celsius in the summer by the month of May. Okay, so
Yes, I know.
you leave your Coke can outside for 2 minutes, it will heat up. Why? Because the cold has moved into the heat and the heat has moved into the cold. Now, because the atmosphere is hot, the coldness becomes meaningless. Suppose you're in a cold place like Siberia, and there you put something hot, it becomes cold within a few minutes. So you can't have it hot. So this is the moving of one into another. And Anaximander basically said that the world is created through the movement of opposite tendencies into each other, which I think is brilliant for a pre-Socratic thinker. They are called Milesians because they come from the province of Miletus, Miletus. Okay, so here you have Anaximander telling you the world comes into being because of the atmospheric tendencies, opposite tendencies come into each other. He didn't stop there. He went ahead and said, the earth is not resting in water. There is no primary substance. So where is the earth resting then? That's the question. Because if you go by Greek mythology, Atlas is carrying the earth on his shoulder. And these people are probably atheists of that particular time. So they are looking for naturalist explanations for natural phenomena. They're looking for naturalistic explanations. Don't go outside of nature. Whatever is there in nature is what you have to know. You have to search. These people didn't have anybody who wrote anything before them. Nothing was written before them. So it became a search for these people. So they were searching for how life came into being, how the earth came into being. They are searching for those things. Now, Anaximander is such a brilliant man. When Thales said the earth is a flat disk resting in water, Anaximander asked, where is the water resting then? Very fundamental challenge. So he came up with the answer that the earth is a cylinder This is the closest I can show you to a cylinder. This pen, it is cylindrical. He didn't call it a sphere. Okay, he called it a cylinder. He said the earth is a cylinder that is spinning on its own axis. Okay, like this. By spinning on its own axis, what it is doing is that it is creating force. And this force that is being created by the rotation of the earth will not let the earth fall down in space. So Anaximander also had a theory of space. But even more interestingly, Anaximander, when he was asked, when he thought to himself, I'm holding this pen. As long as I'm holding this pen, it's fine. I let go of it, it falls. This is something that intrigued Anaximander. So Anaximander basically came up with this explanation that things have a tendency to fall. Okay? That things have a tendency to fall. That is the explanation he came up. He was trying to find out, why do they fall? What is there in them that they fall the moment you let go? He wanted to know that. But unfortunately, in his time, he couldn't finish his experiments. So let's come to the Renaissance. And in the Renaissance, let's talk about Galileo. Now, everybody believes that Galileo was the inventor of the telescope, and he contradicted the geocentric theory of the universe and replaced it with the heliocentric theory of the universe, which is the earth is not the center of the universe. He said it is the sun. Helios in Greek is sun. So heliocentric is sun-centric. So he said the universe is sun-centric, heliocentric, not geocentric. And he also said nothing is flat. Nothing is flat. The earth is a sphere. Now, for this, he is beholden to Anaximander because he was reading Anaximander. While reading Anaximander, he came across this thing also of why do things fall? Till then, even in the Renaissance times, people did not know about why things fall. Galileo, like what should I say, like Anaximander located the tendency to fall in things that you hold. He also studied the force equation that was being created by Anaximander. So Galileo conducted what are called the cannonball experiments. So what are the cannonball experiments? You know, a cannon, everybody knows a cannon, right? You put gunpowder in it and fire on your enemies usually. But you can do other things with that too. So what was being done by Galileo was he was putting different objects of different sizes into the cannon, and he was using certain kind of force to see how long the cannonball will resist the tendency to fall. How long will the cannonball resist this tendency to fall? So he discovered the lighter an object, and I'm really sorry about this. These two mutts are horrible. Very sorry about that. So the thing that he is trying to do is lighter the thing and more the force, it travels farther and resists the tendency to fall. That is what he says. The next thing for him is put a heavy cannonball and use a light fuse. The cannonball doesn't go anywhere. Even if you put a lot of powder fuse and shoot, a heavy cannonball had a tendency to fall much shorter than much shorter than the lighter cannonball. So this was something that was intriguing Galileo. And you know that in the medieval period, the church was an all-encompassing power. And so the Christian church called Galileo a heretic. He was called a heretic because he said the earth is not the center of the universe, it is the sun which is the center of the universe. So usually this was met by spectacular punishments. Michel Foucault, if you read his book, Discipline and Punish, there is a chapter called The Spectacle of the Scaffold. So what is the spectacle of the scaffold? A scaffolding is something that is outside, and you torture people. You torture people till they say, yes, I am under the influence of the devil, if they disagreed with what the church said. So what kind of punishments were they? Burning at stake. I suppose all of you know that. Stake is a stick that you put in the middle create a funeral pyre and burn the person alive. That was one punishment. Another punishment was tie the four limbs of of a human being to four different horses and make the horses run in different directions. So Galileo was facing this fate. So Galileo immediately said, I am sorry, I am wrong, I was under the influence of the devil. That is why I gave you all this wrong information. Spare my life. He was spared of his life, but he was not allowed to come out into society and live a normal life because of the fact that the church feared that he might contaminate the minds of the people with things such as the earth being the center of the universe. Now, because of the controversy that happened here, Galileo's works also were half done. Newton studied Galileo. Newton studied Galileo, and he came to the conclusion, I'm not going to go into laws of physics and all that. Then we'll be making a grand detour of what we are supposed to do. He did his own calculations and came up with the theory of gravity. He said it is not a tendency to fall that is there in objects like this, but it is the tendency of the earth to pull anything down. In fact, he said, as long as we are walking on the earth, we don't fall down. So that is why we keep thinking that other things fall down. So he said, if you climb up something and stop holding it, a ladder-like thing, then you fall to the ground. So the tendency to fall is not only in things, it is there in human beings and animals. It is there in that unless they are resting on something, they don't fall. And in one of his lectures, he said, look at the apple. As long as the apple is not ripe, it is something that will be on the tree. But once the apple ripens, and if nobody plucks it, then it falls down. That was his explanation. Not that story that he sat one day and came up with this. So all this was done with the intent of gaining knowledge and understanding the world. Understanding the world. This is what you have to see here. So, till the Renaissance, there was no research. There was research. I'll talk to you about that later in the next class, because research is a Christian concept, very, very Christian. The Christians started research for various reasons, which I shall go into tomorrow. But the university is a Christian institution. Today they are public universities, but university was a Christian institution. We say seminar. There is a seminary in a university or a college set up by the church. This is long before the Renaissance itself, when Christianity hadn't become so corrupt. So, research, please remember, has to do with Christianity, primarily. And they used various methods of research. So what I'll do is, tomorrow, I hope you people will come back. No, you're not coming back? Okay. Okay, so if you come back, I will tell you why research is a Christian, why is it moored to Christianity? And I will also tell you the various pursuits of knowledge that the church had in its early years. The later years were the ones which are bad. But the early years, the church was an institution that pursued knowledge. But you must understand that people like the Eleatics, which is Parmenides and Zeno, they are extremely important for their own reasons. Parmenides believed that nothing in the world is moving. Okay, this is the metaphysical component of Parmenides' thinking. Nothing in the world moves because the world is an orderly world. And when something is orderly, there's no need to move. So for him, all perceptions of movement are illusory. They are fooling you. So he is somebody who doesn't want you to use your senses. He is somebody who wants you to use your mind. While I am telling you the story tomorrow of Galileo and method and all that, I shall also tell you a little bit, probably start off with a little bit of Parmenides and Plato, because Plato also believed in what Parmenides believed about the world. So these are all people who are searching. Interestingly, Heraclitus, another Greek philosopher, he claimed that you don't step into the same river twice. You don't step into the same river twice. Parmenides said, then where is this river going? Where has it gone? Where is another river coming? First, this river should go away if I have to step into another river. But this river is right in front of me. Each time I put my leg, I'm putting in the same river. So it's not moving. So he says there are two ways of understanding the world. The way of the truth, written with a capital T. The way of the truth and the way of appearances. So Parmenides says that if you go by the way of appearances, you will be deceitful. I mean, you will be under the spell of an illusion and deceit. You are getting the wrong picture. It says the world is an order. It is one whole order. And therefore, nothing needs to move in the world. That is what metaphysics of Parmenides is. Ontology, I'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay. So hopefully I'll see the four of you tomorrow.
Sure, sir.
Sure, sir. Same time?
Siri,
So is it same time?
same time, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
It's inconvenient.
No, it's okay for me.
Okay. Is 6 o'clock okay with everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 6 o'clock it is. Zakir also agrees. So see you tomorrow.
See you.
What happened, Shalini? You added so many people, nobody came.
I don't know, sir.
Mm,
I informed everyone. Then
that's okay, don't worry. For me, one is a crowd. Mm.
I'll be there.
Even one is a crowd. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
See you
Professor.
tomorrow. Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.